What up, guys? It's Tony. Thank you guys for joining me again on this little video I made regarding Marvel Knights. It's one of my favorite groups of figures, the Marvel Vigilante Urban Heroes. I'm just going to go over a bunch of members that I have or that I've customized and made a display out of. There's a bunch of members that can still be added. I mean, Marvel considers Doctor Strange a member. There's Crystal, Medusa. I'm not doing any of the Inhumans. They're their own thing, but they're just part of the imprint that Palmiotti and Quesada over at Marvel started back in the day. That were considered, inside the Marvel Knights imprint. I'm just worried about the street level, concerned myself about street level urban heroes, all the vigilantes, all the badasses that run the streets. All right, so let's check it out. Okay, let's get to the main one right away. Matt Murdock, also known as Daredevil. He was a leader of his own unnamed team when Marvel Knights started, and Jimmy Palmiotti and Joe Quesada, started off Marvel Knights back in the day to help, Marvel out of bankruptcy and all that crap, like I just told you a little while ago. But Daredevil's one of my favorite characters. He's one of the main, urban street vigilantes, associated with Marvel Knights. And this figure, this one's the VHS one, the one with all the black cell shading. I took it all off. The one that I really wanted was the one with, Elektra and Bullseye, the blue chest Bullseye and the white suited Elektra. But that thing is expensive as hell. Got this guy and just took Winsor Newton, brush cleaner restorer to him. Took all the black stuff off and got a water slide decal for his chest emblem from Bad Mother Tattoos and Customs. And look real good. This is the main Marvel Knight himself, Daredevil. Got to add him to any Marvel Knight team you're making. All right, next up you got Dagger, Tandy Bowen. It's another member of Daredevil's team of Marvel Knights, sent after the Punisher. That's when their team book formed. It was this small team that Daredevil got together to go apprehend the Punisher, and then Punisher joined them later on. Weird stuff. But here we go with Tandy Bowen. Let's see if I can focus on her. It doesn't want to. Dagger, in one of her first forays that I ever remembered, without Cloak. But then there you go, he's right there. Can't have Cloak without Dagger, Dagger without Cloak. But when she was in the Marvel Knights, it was her by herself with them. I gotta go back and get some of those books. They're pretty badass. But you gotta have these two. Mainly, I don't know if Cloak was something's going on in his life that he wasn't around as much. But he's counted in with the Marvel Knights too. But when Daredevil had his team, Cloak wasn't there. It was just Dagger. And next up, you got Natasha. You got the Black Widow. She's another member of Daredevil's team. This Natasha, I had made her from, I think, there's a motorcycle. The one that came with the motorcycle. And then I think I made her also from another Ms. Marvel body I had. And just to give her, more curves than that lanky one that came with the bike. And her top of her torso, the part with the zipper, that's from an old, the one Black Widow that came with the Mandroid piece. I think the helmet. I'm not sure. But the other one, the brand new one that came out recently, I got her over there with Avengers, and Natasha was part of all kinds of teams. She was on the Champions, the Avengers. She's a Shield agent. She's badass. She's part of Daredevil's team. She was partnered with Daredevil. One of Daredevil's lovers. Natasha's seen it all, done it all. She's a badass chick, man. Gotta have her in the Marvel Knights. Then you have the legendary Shang Chi, baby. My Bruce Lee of the Marvel Universe. Hell yeah. He's one Daredevil recruited too in his first team. So there you have it. You got Daredevil, Dagger, Black Widow, and Shang Chi. They all headed up to apprehend the Punisher. It didn't end well, and I think the Punisher ended up teaming up with them or something like that. But yeah, it was crazy. But Shang-Chi's always been a favorite of mine. To me, Shang-Chi is he's been trained since birth, so he can hang with the best of them. He can stalemate Iron Fist, if not beat him. He's you know tangled with Captain America's. He's helped train him. He's helped train Wolverine, train Spider-Man. You know, I mean, if you Bracken, I think Action Force days he trained Quick Kick. So, dude, like I say, you want you want the Bruce Lee of Marvel Universe. That's Shang-Chi. He's the best there is. This is another version of Shang-Chi I made. Like I said, I consider him the Bruce Lee of the Marvel Universe, and now he's that was the old '70s costume he was in. No shoes, no top, or he put on the gi, the red gi to match his pants. And this one, I had to get a black outfit from GPS Lot on eBay, and see how he looked in it, and he looks pretty badass. This is straight up, End of the Dragon Bruce Lee here. But for this outfit, when he had this on, it had red striping all the way down, like a jumpsuit, from his neck all the way down to his sleeves, on the inside of his the sides of his shirt, the sides of his jumpers. These were like his stealth mode suit. And this one he was in the Secret Avengers when he was paired with Sharon Carter and Captain Rogers. So I think Cap went and recruited him. I'm sorry, Commander Rogers. In this iteration, they went and recruited him to go up against the Shadow Council, and there goes Sharon. One of them was gonna fall, and it had to be her. So yeah, that comic was awesome when he had him help out the Secret Avengers. At one time, Shang-Chi was kicking ass all over the place, and he was telling Cap, "Hey man, I told you I'd help this and that, but I resent being Major Thug." And Cap told him, "You ain't no thug here, Shang. You're an Avenger." And that got a smile out of him. So, ever the one to make sure that, hey, I told you I owed you a favor, come and help you, but is this all you're gonna have me do? Cap's like, "Yeah, dude, you kick ass. You're all we need. You're our secret weapon." So he looked like this when he was in the Secret Avengers. Especially, I can't remember what issue it was, but there was another story involving them. It was against the Shadow Council, and it was Ed Brubaker was writing the Secret Avengers. It was freaking awesome. And that's Shang-Chi. Now here we come with Mark Spector, also known as Moon Knight, baby. The multi-personality crazy, where you got Jake Lockley, Mark Spector, and oh my gosh, what's the other one? Jake Lockley, Mark Spector, and Stephen Grant. That's right, Jake Lockley, Stephen Grant, Mark Spector. Anyway, Moon Knight's a badass. He's always been like, part Daredevil, part Punisher. He wouldn't hesitate to kill you. For these bad guys. He dressed in all white. It's pretty ballsy. Hawkeye was on him one time saying, "I can't believe you dressed in all white. That's crazy." He goes, "I want them to see me coming, in the nighttime." So it tells you how crazy Spectre is. He's another former Marine. So in this wired cape, I had to dump that sorry ass plastic cape that Hasbro gives all their caped heroes, and grab a GPS Lot. I think it was a GPS Lot cape. I am not sure. I gotten so many capes from so many outside sources and third parties. I'm not sure if it's Harker Customs. It might not be. It might be a GPS lock cape, but yeah, it's wired all around. You can make it bend however you want and pose them however. But Moon Knight's pretty badass. Another urban vigilante. Then I think Moon Knight went and recruited Luke Cage. And I didn't think Daredevil was too happy with it, but I don't know. I'm not sure why. I got to get those books again. That's going to be a nice little hunt just to hunt down some more Marvel Knights comics. I have some, but not a bunch. I have the big encyclopedia. Tells you everyone that's associated with the Marvel Knights. So I don't get it twisted. I mean, they've got all kinds of their associates and more urban vigilantes in there. So this 70s style Luke Cage is how he looked back then with Iron Fist as Heroes for Hire. Now, he did have blue pants, and then he did have black pants. Yeah, that's why Marvel released him in Toy Biz days with both. But there's been a few other iterations of Luke Cage in Marvel Legends. But with this one, he had black pants. I had some, I got some acrylic paint markers. I didn't want to paint him. I sanded his joints down back here. Looks a little rough, but it's fine for my tastes. He doesn't have boot rotation. That's crazy. I think KJ, Black Genghis, almost tore his off trying to see if they were articulated and had swivel, and they didn't. And then we talked about it on the Terrordrome. So anyway, I got a hold of the blue acrylic paint marker and did him a job on his pants, and he looks awesome like he was supposed to be. I never dug him with the black pants. So, I mean, he was looking like this when Moon Knight recruited him for the Marvel Knights. I think Moon Knight wanted to have them have a base of operations, and Daredevil wasn't too keen on it. I don't know what was up Daredevil's ass, but I got to read those books again. He was just released with Iron Fist in this costume, his updated costume. He's so big it won't even fit in here. So anyways, that's the new updated Cage. He's pretty badass. They gave him a great physique, his badass boots there. His jeans are sweet. Cage belt buckle. Only thing I did different was give him some bracelets. I think I got from I can't remember. I think I got them from some Spider-Man. It was Scarlet Spider or one of those that had the bracelets on the outside. I just turned them inside out. I mean, I'll probably paint them later, but I kind of like that blue tint they're giving off. But I mean, you got him. You always have to have Iron Fist backing him up. So Danny Rand, also known as Iron Fist, he's another one of the Marvel Knights. I consider a Marvel Knight. If not, I mean, a lot of people have controversy of who is in the Marvel Knights, who is not. No, he isn't. Yes, he is. Man, if he's in the Marvel Knights Encyclopedia and the Marvel Knight comic book of like 2009, 2005, I think it is, one of those, they're considered Marvel Knights. If not, you can call them the, urban vigilante, street heroes. That's my bag. That's what I love most about the Marvel characters. The street level heroes are my thing. So this Iron Fist is sick. It's the best one they've ever released. Better than the one in white. Better than the one they had like this. And better than the jumpsuit one. I do have a GPS lot jumpsuit for Iron Fist if I ever make another custom, so I don't have to have full body paint, but we'll see. He keeps on going back to this old school outfit, which is fine by me. It suits him. So anyways, it's awesome to have him and Shang Chi, as in the Marvel Knights as well. So yeah, man, this 2-pack is pretty damn cool. Okay, after Iron Fist and Power Man Luke Cage, I gotta involve, the Daughters of the Dragon. Nightwing Restorations. Colleen Wing and Misty Knight. Daughters of the Dragon in my book, Nightwing Restorations as well. They're a badass team of chicks that were associated with the Heroes for Hire as well. Badass urban vigilantes in their own right. I got my own Colleen Wing is just Moonstone body, the newer Moonstone body, and I just, put, her arbitrary piping on her jumpsuit all over the place. Did it with the black micron pen, I think. I'm gonna have to go over it with paint because it looks like some of it's rubbing off. It looks like it's getting kind of wonky, but it is what it is. I think those are older Elektra hands I put on her, and I think the katana is from one of the Fwoosh ninjas, and I just put a Dritz elastic strap to the scabbard and stuck it on her back. I also took, I'm not sure what Spidey or Peter Parker, somebody had some tennis shoes. Somebody had some sneakers that I repainted and repurposed for Colleen. She's always got her sneakers on with this jumpsuit. That's her look. And Misty, her look is I had her all red. That's actually came with Marvel Legends, but then I saw some different iterations of her costume, and wanted to do her a little different. This custom, she's got Ironheart's right arm to mimic her bionic arm. Either that, I'm not sure in the comic book if Tony Stark hooked her up with that arm in Defenders or Iron Fist's series on Netflix. It was Danny Rand who came up with the arm. It was Iron Fist. So I don't know, but all we know is that she was crippled at one time, and either one of those guys, I don't care who it was, they hooked her up with the bionic arm, which is pretty dope. This costume, what I was getting to, is a direct take from her look in the game. I think it's a mobile game, the Contest of Champions Misty Knight, where she has blue on top, red on the bottom, and then blue piping, blue knee pads, and in her trusty 357 Magnum at her side that came with her in Marvel Legends. So I've been wanting to do this girl team for a long time, and I've had them up in my collection for a while. I just updated them. I love that Moonstone body. A lot of people think that Colleen Wing is this one's a little bit too muscular. That Moonstone body is very more voluptuous than she is. But when you look at her, and a lot of different artists draw her a lot of different ways. Remember, she's got a skin-tight bodysuit. I want her to look more sexy, I'm gonna admit it, and tough. She's got some guns on her. She's got Moonstone had nice triceps and biceps, man. So I think it just looks good on her. And with the silk head, I think that suits her well. I wanted to get her hair a little bit more auburn, but darker red. That's fine with me. So yeah, there goes Daughters of the Dragon. To me, that's the only place I want to put Jessica Jones, into the Marvel Knights, and not as her. Man, I can't even remember what her superhero name is. Oh my God, I am drawing a freaking blank. But anyways, to me, she's Jessica Jones. The Private Eye, the Netflix. This is a Netflix version with. I think it's the retro Black Widow. Is at Walgreens. I got one of her heads and painted it black. I do have the actress's head still from the Netflix series. She's a badass actress. She pulled it off really good. She's an awesome Jessica Jones. But for comic representation, I use this head, and there you go. And then this one, what was I gonna say? This one came out really well. I mean, there's nowhere else for me to put her, except for the Marvel Knights. I mean, she's married to Luke. She's a badass in her own right. Here we go with Elektra Nachios. She's one of the baddest assassins around. I mean, she's even worked for the Kingpin. She got killed at one time by that jerk Bullseye behind her. Came back with help with a hand. And Elektra's badass. Another one of Daredevil's lovers, Daredevil's partners. She's awesome. She's been around comic books for a long time. She's always got to be in there. We talk about urban vigilante, street heroes, Marvel Knights, baby. She's about, you got to have any team with her, a display with her and Black Widow in it. They got down a couple times. It was crazy. But yeah, man, you got to have Elektra in there. I like the body on the white one in the 3-pack with Bullseye and Daredevil, but that thing is expensive as hell, and I'd end up probably painting her red. I like her better in the red outfit. I'm gonna update this body pretty soon. I don't know what I'm gonna do because she's got a lot of skin showing. You know, she's almost like Psylocke. You know what I mean? GPS Lot does have a cloth outfit for her as well. It looks pretty dope. Um, but anyways, yeah. Until I update her body, because she's, you know what I mean? She's really slender, but I like her more curvy, like in the comic. Plus, her shoulders are kind of a little on the weird looking side, but not too bad. But any chance you have anytime you have a chance to update the buck with double jointed elbows, you got to do it every time. You know, it's nothing to paint her arm wraps, her leg wraps, her boots. It's nothing. This one's got a great looking head sculpt, a great looking face. The red bandana looks awesome. You can always put. I think I had one of those silk heads on her, and it looked pretty damn good. A little young, but it looked pretty good. But you always got to have Elektra in there, you know, as one of your urban street heroes. Yeah, one of the main Marvel Knights is Ghost Rider, baby. Either Johnny Blaze or Dan Ketch, man. I don't care. Both of them suckers are involved in Marvel Knights. They're another, street level vigilante. I mean, he goes bigger than the streets, but that's where you mostly find Ghost Rider in the streets, dealing out vengeance and protecting those that harm the innocent, right? And dealing it out with that crazy penance there he's got. He's one of the mainstays of Marvel Knights, one of the big guns. And this new iteration that came out from Marvel Legends is pretty dope. It says, I would have done something like Scorpio did with these lenses. They're just clear. Might have to do what he did and put some yellow behind them just to upgrade it a little bit, make them a little taller. Scorpio did a great upgrade on this Dan Ketch Ghost Rider. Check them out. I'll put a link in the description. Let me find everything, and you guys shall check it out. And I might do it my own self. I think he takes one of the what's it called? Python Patrol from G.I. Joe Classified Crimson Guards, and grabs some of their boots and does a little trick to make him taller. And he puts some, like, a black wash on some of his bracelets, and I have a real chain on him, so I won't have to do that. And then just make him a little bit more detailed. But yeah, man, Ghost Rider, awesome Marvel Knight. Woohoo! Black Panther, the King of Wakanda. Yes, he's another urban street vigilante, and he's another one that you can always fit in with, with all the Wakandans, with the Avengers, longtime Avenger, part-time Avenger. But yeah, he was always associated with the Marvel Knights too. He's another one that Jimmy Palmiotti and Joe Quesada worked on his book to bring it back to more sales than it was getting. He's an awesome character. He's a badass. At first I was like, how's a king of a nation over here? But there's a bunch of stories about him coming over here, and him with Daredevil, and him, in the streets too. And he helped out another cop that, was, I don't know, he's masquerading as him, or he was, doing something with a costume of his or something I can't remember. But he's always been involved in the Marvel Knights titles. He was one of the main ones. I think it was Daredevil, Punisher, Black Panther, Inhumans, Fantastic Four. And you won't see him on this lineup because, even though they are in the streets, Fantastic Four, yeah, but they're more, facing galactic level threats. They were in the streets in the early days, but they don't scream, urban hero vigilante, badasses like all the rest of these do. That's what I'm trying to focus on. But yeah, during that time, the imprint, yeah, they worked on the Inhumans. They worked on the Fantastic Four. They worked on Doctor Strange. They had the Sentry. All of those. Doctor Strange is another one I don't have. I need to get that Walgreens Doctor Strange, or I can't remember, Amazon Doctor Strange. I'm not sure, but that's one of the best ones. The one coming out recently, or is out now, is the one with Wong. I'm not sure if it's out yet or if you can get it yet, but I'm pretty sure you can. I have plans for that Wong. I might turn him into an updated Shang Chi. We'll see. But it's always crazy with Black Panther because this is an outfit. It's really badass, and it's really, it's a suit for its time. You could always have him looking like this. He was looking like this in Marvel Knights too. He did have an outfit where he had the gold necklace was just, it looked like a few squares on one side of the cape. But he did also have a few Marvel Knights titles wearing this outfit. Any one of these looks dope as hell for your Marvel Knights display. I mean, I couldn't pick, but since you have both of these badass bodies and both of these cool ass costumes, one can go with your Marvel Knights. Either one of them, really. I think there was an early book they were working on, Marvel Knights, with Black Panther's title, where he was there with an old school Captain America, and one of the early Marvel Knights titles, and he was wearing this. I had to panel line his damn gloves and boots with a Micron pen. I tried to get it as the best I could, because they weren't done, and it looks unfinished to me. It was just begging to get done. So, with his gloves, and his boots lined like that, it looked really good to me. And then in his early costume, we all call him the Blueberry Daredevil, the black and blue. He had his gloves were lined like that too. Even the one on the left is lined, but he's black. It's black anyway. So yeah, any one of these will kick ass in your Marvel Knights display. Like I said, one for the Avengers, one for Marvel Knights, and you're golden. You gotta have Blade. You gotta have the Daywalker in if you're making any Marvel Knights display. That's what I'm thinking. He's in there. He's in the encyclopedia. He's in the 2009 book. Always got to have Blade in there. He's definitely a big part of it. This Kit Bash is just the latest Blade that came out. Yeah, the latest Blade that came out. I do have his head sculpt, the open mouth vampiric head, and I think that's the only one he came with. But this is his earlier release, and what I did to the body of the latest release, I put Netflix Punisher's arms on him. I got that's his cape. That's the latest Blade's trench out. I put it over that body, and then from the waist down, I think he's Hawkeye. He's the old man Hawkeye. I liked old man Hawkeye's legs with those boots. And then the Netflix Blades daggers. The dagger sheath he had on his leg. I like the inside of the cape being red. Gotta have the Daywalker in any Marvel Knights display. Eric Brooks is the man. Yup, I'm doing it. I'm putting Nick Fury, the director of S.H.I.E.L.D., in with the Marvel Knights. Like I say, he's affiliated with them in the encyclopedia and the 2000 and... Man, I'm going to have to get that book out. I'm going to cover myself by saying 2005, 2009 comic with a lot of Marvel Knights. Like I said, he's in there with Doctor Strange, even District X. I don't know. I can't remember what that is. I think it's Multiple Man and Bishop were involved in it. And they were like cops or something in that. But yeah, Nick Fury was involved with the Marvel Knights. Directly, maybe, he hired the Punisher on occasion. I love, when he's got something to do off the books, no S.H.I.E.L.D., no Avengers, he goes to the Street Heroes. One of the most awesome freaking stories and books I love to read was the Secret Wars, where he recruited Spider-Man, Luke Cage, Wolverine, Daredevil, and Black Widow with Daisy Johnson. That was the introduction of Daisy in that Secret War. That was Secret War, not Secret Wars in the 80s. This is when they went after Lucia von Bardis. I guess she was a prime minister in Latveria, where Doctor Doom was not in the picture anymore, and she was financing the upkeep of a lot of technological villains' weaponry, and the Tinkerer was involved in all their upgrades, where it seemed like, I mean, if that's outright terrorism. So she's financing the upkeep of their outfits and their tech so they can go out and commit crimes with them. Well, the shit they were stealing is less than the upkeep of their outfits and their technology and their weapons. They get to keep the money, but Lucia from Latveria is over there financing them. That's terrorism. They didn't want to do nothing. The government didn't want to do nothing about it because they were in bed with her, like politicians do. So if you ever get a chance, read that story, Secret War, by Brian Michael Bendis and the freaking legendary, awesome Gabriel Delotto. It's painted. It's pretty badass. Nick Fury does some underhanded shit in it, but he kind of wipes the memory of him. I'm sorry, I'm giving you spoilers. Let me move on. But yeah, check out Secret War. It's a freaking awesome series. My favorite of all time, Spidey, man. Spidey is involved with the Marvel Knights as well. One of the most well-known kick-ass urban heroes this side of Daredevil. Peter Parker, also known as Spider-Man. He is one of the best ones there is. He can hang with the Avengers, any other team. He's a big-time solo guy. Spidey's one of the best, urban heroes, Marvel Knights in my book. And in this, I think this is the Renew Your Vows Buck. He's the one with the toe articulation. Yeah. His blue was a little too dark for my liking. It was cool, but I got a hold of those acrylic paint markers. I'll put the link in the description, and just painted him while I was on the stream with some guys. And it was in no time. Except it's a little difficult in between the legs of the spider, getting the marker in there, but it worked. It worked pretty well. And that's the kind of blue I like with Spidey. I think I probably hit him with some more Krylon acrylic matte just to get some of the shiny parts down. But watch out, Spidey. They're all looking at you. All the gangsters are present. And they're looking at all the members before you. But yeah, this is my end-all be-all Spidey. The new one is getting released with the Vulture from the cartoon, the VHS series. And I heard that's on the Sunfire body. No, thank you. It's a great buck, but we've come so far since then. So anyways, I think there's only one more member. See you in a bit. Boom. The man himself, Frank Castle. You got to have the Punisher in there. I'm so glad they came out with that Punisher in the 2-pack with Bushwhacker. He's a badass figure, and what did I do? I had to customize him up a bit. Kit bash him at least. It turned into a custom. It was a chore. Anybody thinking that you can just get the SHIELD agents and put the white boots and white gloves on them's got another thing coming. It's kind of difficult. But anyway, I'll get into that in a bit. But yeah, the Punisher is a great body, great buck, great articulation. I threw a Gridiron M16 M203 on him. It fits him so well. He's awesome. I can't stop messing with this guy. I mean, I do wish they did have another head sculpt with him, and it was the yelling head sculpt with no headband. I was almost gonna heat the hair from that and transplant it onto this one, so I have a Frank with just his regular, parted hair without the headband. But I know Jim Lee's look, he mostly had him, with the headband, the white headband on. But I just have to, he did have another head sculpt, but it's a Screaming one. And I do have more Punisher head sculpts in my storage, but I want an end all be all one that I can just say the hell with it and not have to swap so much. You know, the Return to Marvel Legends Punisher head, that's a good sculpt. It's a little dated, especially when you have an awesome sculpt like this that you're working with. I think it's Harding Studios did this one too. I'm not sure, but I'll bet on it. The hardest thing for giving him, you know, the white boots and gloves from the Shield Agent is just a different peg size. You know, I mean, I had the Dum Dum Dugan, donated his parts from it. All I did was paint Nick Fury, Dum Dum's legs black from the hip down to the boot, and transport them over to the Punisher. They fit pretty a little gappy. See, there's a little gap that's a little bit more pronounced than Fury's. So the ball joint, it still works pretty well. It doesn't bother me. You know, transported his thigh holster over, and with the arms, the peg that comes out of the shoulder is a different kind of size of peg from the one that comes out of the Shield shoulder. So I think it's a little bigger, and I had to Dremel the Punisher's hole in his bicep a little bigger, and I did it a little too big. So then I had to use some shrink wrap on the joints and then put them both on that way. And this one worked out pretty good, but I ended up ripping the peg off of this joint. So I had to get a new shoulder for him from what did I get? A Black Panther I had, and I couldn't do without this Black Panther. So Amazon had them. It wasn't that expensive, and I have Amazon Prime, so he came like in 2 days. So this shoulder is this shoulder from T'Challa, and it's a little bit smaller, but you can't you can't really tell. I mean, I'm looking at it, I'm like, bullshit, I can tell. But yeah, so anyone wanting to do that, I mean, get your paints out if you want. It was even harder because what I did, since that didn't work and I didn't want to mess with that anymore, and even I pulled the shoulder out of the socket, it was a different peg than this one as well too. So what I did was I got the Punisher's arms back in, cut off his black gloves with an X-Acto, cut these off the forearm because there's no articulation here. There's none. So what I did was I just Loctite glued this whole this part of his arm that's white onto the Punisher's, and it worked pretty damn seamless. But you got to be right on point. You got to cut it really well with an X-Acto or a razor, and then just glue that sucker back on. And since he doesn't have any articulation there at all, it doesn't matter because the articulation is all in his wrist and his at the wrist. There's a peg up and down, peg side to side, and for my needs, it came out pretty well. It came out pretty good. I wouldn't recommend it if someone else has a better suggestion of what to do to get white boots and gloves on your Punisher. Yeah, let me know, because that's what I did. I mean, if I would have known all those pegs were different, I would have cut the arms off in the first place. But it's not too bad as it is. I mean, they look pretty dope together, and they've teamed up too. And he's hired Fury's hired Castle for some missions. And there's this one, I don't know if it's new or newer, the Get Fury series where Fury he gets kidnapped, or he gets held hostage by the NVA in Vietnam, and then Frank Castle has to go rescue him, something like that. I can't wait to get that one. Somebody was telling me about that. But anyways, there's one of the final members of the heroes that I have that I consider Marvel Knights. Now, another one I do consider is Logan. He's been involved in a bunch of Marvel Knights titles with the Punisher, with some other guys, and he's hella urban. I mean, yeah, he's a member of the New Avengers. Yeah, he's a member of the X-Men. Yeah, he's a member of this one, that one, the white one and the black one. This one is just a kit bash of one of the first orange and mustard costume Wolverines there is. I can't wait to get the new one. This one, I liked the Toy Biz mask the way it is. It's a little small, but see, it works, but in the back it looks kind of funky. See, there's too much meat missing from his head, so you see the ball joints. So I just put him here. I consider him a Marvel Knight too. Sometimes you Google Marvel Knights and it'll say, all these are Marvel Knights, to start naming names, and then it'll say like Bishop, Crystal, Wolverine, Spider-Man. So I mean, he's in there. He's affiliated with them, and I don't know. I like putting Logan in there, and then if he's not, he's always solo with the brown suit, more so than the yellow suit. He saves that for the X-Men, but then I'll either have him in there like that so he can be in costume, or I'll put the Cowboy Wolverine up that I kit bashed, and I had painted his shirt black, and I made some sleeves for him, and I got some metal claws from what was it, Can of Beams? Can of Beams made these. These are like, oh, sorry, it's hard doing this with the camera in front. I don't know how you guys do it. These are the real metal claws. I have 3 or 4 sets of them because he kept changing them. And then Marvel Legends' own claws started getting pretty decent. And I wouldn't, lose them at all. But these ones, you got to be careful with, because the way I shoved them in, they won't come out. But if you mess with them enough, they can come loose and come out. So yeah, I always call this the Juggernaut Wolverine, because that's where he was in a bar, threatening Juggernaut, looking like this with his cowboy hat on, and had his claws out, had the jeans. So I like this. I think these are Ghost Rider boots. Yeah, so that's my Marvel Knights, people. So if you have Wolvie like this, if you don't think he should be in Marvel Knights, let me know. What do you think about this whole list? I think that's it, man. I think that's it where Marvel Knights are concerned. I got this Donald, was it David Blake or D Blake? D Blake Makes on Instagram. He made this for me a long time ago. I think I was the first guy to ask him, hey, Dave, I think it's David. I'm going to call him Mr. Blake. D Blake Makes on Instagram. He makes these badass logos, for you to have. He 3D prints these, and he's even got videos of him doing it, squeezing the paint into these things. They are awesome. I love these things. Everybody's logo he's done. Superman, Batman, Spider-Man, X-Men, Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat. And this goes on and on. Check out my man D Blake Makes. I'll put the link in the description below. But I was one of his first customers that wanted him to do a Marvel Knights logo for me, and he did a really good job. I haven't even put it anywhere yet. I don't know if I want to put. I'll probably put magnets on it or something, other than maybe Velcro, and stick it on the NECA Street scene somewhere if I have this. So as far as I'm concerned, the NECA Street scene behind the villains, the gangsters, it's made for everybody, but that's really awesomely suited to Marvel Knights, Vigilantes, Urban Heroes. But you can always put Turtles on it, JLA on it, X-Men on it. It's just a city block. But this might go on somewhere where I can, take it off, for videos. But I wish I could just let this go and it could float in the air. But Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for checking me out. Let me know who you consider Marvel Knights, or what street urban vigilantes would you put in here if you wanted to make your own, or just add. I know some people say Night Thrasher from what team is he on? The New Warriors, or some more New Warriors too. There's some other guys out there. Even Doctor Strange is considered one. And I always wanted to know, where would you guys put Silver Sable? Where would you put Paladin? Paladin always gets hired by Silver Sable for her missions. He's always part of her WoW pack. And sometimes when Spidey needs money, he'll go work for her too. But I think those ones are in storage. I think it's Silver Sable, Paladin, and Deathlock. I wouldn't know where to put those. Deathlock did have something to do with X-Force, the black and gray with Wolverine and Warpath and X-23 and Deadpool. And speaking of, there's another one that's always been, involved with like street level hero vigilantes is Marvel Knights. Deadpool. He's been in some titles. He's been in I think the new one of the later Defenders books, when Defenders was they made that title with I think Jessica Jones was in it, and Iron Fist, Luke Cage, and Daredevil. I'm pretty sure I gotta look that up again. But then Jessica was in it, and so was Spider-Woman, and a bunch of those. Anyone who's dealt with the streets of New York and Marvel Universe for any particular kind of time, if they're an urban vigilante, if they're working the streets at night, busting up these gangster heads and dealing with rapists and thugs and muggers and arsonists and all them jerks the cops can't get, sick the Marvel Knights on them, or any one of these heroes involved with the Marvel Knights. I'd rock with this version, this comic book version of the retro Deadpool. All I did was take one of the other Deadpools. See, it's not really finished. You can see where I cut there. I put the newer version. What was it? I think it was the Bucky Cap body that they did. They did a Deadpool on. He's got sidearm. This one is reminiscent of when he was kind of he wasn't a smartass at the time, and he didn't have any firearms on him. I do want to put some pistols on him as well, but he rocked like this when he was messing with X-Force, with Cable and Domino and all them. So I think that's all I got for my urban heroes Marvel Knights. So again, before I forget, I'm pretty sure I'm done. But thanks for holding tight, holding fast, checking it out. I mean, this is just a video I wanted to get done because I love these guys, dude. They're my bread and butter. Marvel Knights all the way. See you guys in the next one. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think. Where would you put those other guys I told you about? Deathlock, Silver Sable, Paladin, stuff like that. Because when you're making a display in your detolfs, the X-Men, the JLA, the X-Force, or the Avengers, or Defenders, and all the teams. You could always put, your street heroes up there, and who you would consider putting in there. It's always crazy because sometimes with the Avengers, I don't put the Hulk in there. He was only there for a little bit in the comics, and the movies is always there, different versions of him. I got him in there now because I cannot put the Hulk away. He's got to stay on the shelf. So anyways, thank you guys once and for all. Talk to you later. Thanks for tuning in. See you on the next one.